particles with the same mass move towards each other with the positive x-axis to the right. Assuming no friction and the collision between them is perfectly elastic, determine the velocities of the balls after the collision. The initial velocities of the balls are positive 30 centimeters and positive 30 centimeters per second and negative 20 centimeters per second. So the signs you're seeing right here pertains to the direction of the ball. So if we're going to make a diagram with two balls of the same mass, we're going to name them ball 1 and ball 2. Ball 1 is going at a 30 centimeters per second to the right, and ball 2 is going at 20 centimeters per second to the left. And for this, we're going to use both the conservation of momentum and the conservation of energy. First, let's use the conservation of momentum. For the conservation of momentum, we have initial momentum is equal to final momentum. And we can simply rewrite this as m sub 1 times v sub 1 plus m sub 2 times v sub 2 is equal to m sub 1 times v sub 1 prime plus m sub 2 times v sub 2 prime. And we can cancel all the masses out since all the masses are equal naman. And then we will have v sub 1 plus v sub 2 is equal to v sub 1 prime plus v sub 2 prime. And for this, we can plug in the two velocities, the two initial velocities, which are positive 30 centimeters per second minus negative 20 plus negative 20 centimeters per second is equal to v sub 1 prime plus v sub 2 prime. And we're going to get 10 centimeters per second is equal to v sub 1 prime plus v sub 2 prime. And now we have our first equation. This is equation 1. Next is we're going to get this second equation, and for that we're going to use the conservation of energy, of kinetic energy. Once again, the formula for conservation of kinetic energy is initial kinetic energy is equal to final kinetic energy, and that can be written as 1/2 m sub 1 v sub 1 plus squared plus 1/2 m sub 2 v sub 2 sub 2 quantity squared is equal to 1/2 m sub 1 v sub 1 prime squared plus 1/2 m sub 2 v sub 2 squared. We can now all cancel the mass since all of them are equal and cancel the 1/2, mga 1/2. And what's going to remain is v sub 1 squared plus v sub 2 squared is equal to v sub 1 prime squared plus v sub 2 prime squared. And if we're going to rearrange this, pagsasamahin natin yung 1's and 2's, sub 1's and sub 2's, we are going to get the finactor na v sub 1 minus v sub 1 prime is equal to v sub 1 plus v sub 1 prime is equal to v sub 2 prime minus v sub 2 multiplied by v sub 2 prime plus v sub 2. And now that we have this long formula, we're going to divide this with this para makuha natin. Pero before we divide, we're going to rearrange it para mas madali siyang i-divide. This equation is also equal to v sub 1 minus v sub 1 prime is equal to v sub 2 prime minus v sub 2. Yan. They're the same. So we can use this para i-divide dito. We can put v sub 1 minus v sub 1 prime is equal to v sub 2 prime minus v sub 2. And yan, right off the bat, we can cancel this and this. And ang matitira sa atin is v sub 1 plus v sub 1 prime is equal to v sub 2 prime plus v sub 2. And we can simply rearrange this Once na-rearrange na natin siya, we're going to get v sub 1 minus v sub 2 is equal to negative v sub 1 prime plus plus v sub 2 prime. Okay. Yan. Once we have those na, we're going to rewrite it right here. We have v sub 1 minus v sub 2 is equal to negative v sub 1 prime minus v sub 2 prime. Finactor out lang natin yung negative. And with this, we can now plug in the initial velocities, which is 30 centimeters per second minus negative 20 centimeters per second is equal to v sub 1 prime minus v sub 2 prime. Negative. And we have 50 is equal to negative 50 is equal to negative v sub 2 negative v sub 1 minus v sub 2 prime, both primes. Pagka distribute natin negative sign, we'll get 50 is equal to 50 centimeters per second is equal to v sub 2 prime minus v sub 1 prime. And this will be our second equation. Oh my gosh. Once we have our first and second equations, we're simply going to add them. So we're going to put 10 centimeters per second is equal to v sub 1 plus v sub 2. And 50 centimeters per second is equal to v sub 1 is equal to v sub 2 prime minus v sub 1 prime. Yan, we're going to add. We have 60 centimeters per second is equal to, cancel these out. And ang matitira sa atin is 2v sub 2. And we're gonna divide both sides by 2. Yan, we're gonna v sub 2. And we're gonna get 30 centimeters 30 centimeters is equal to v sub 2 prime. 30 centimeters per second. 30 centimeters per second. And this is the velocity, the final velocity of the second object. This is the final velocity of the second object. To get the final velocity of the first object, we can simply use the formula. We can simply use either equation, pero let's use the first equation. We have 10 is equal to v sub 1 prime plus v sub 2 prime. And sa substitute lang natin, 10 centimeters per second is equal to, yung v sub 1 prime ang hinahanap, wala, pero ang v sub 2 prime natin is 30 centimeters per second. And we're going to transpose v sub 1 prime is equal to 10 minus 30 centimeters per second. Therefore, v sub 1 prime is equal to negative 20 centimeters per second. And this is the velocity of the first ball. Yan. And that is the answer for this problem.